Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a story that deserves far more attention than it is getting because it highlights something that often gets lost amid all the noise, the headlines, the royal gossip, and the endless attempts to turn everything into controversy. Prince Harry has just received a major international honor. Time magazine has included Harry in its Time 100 sports list, recognizing him as one of the most influential figures in the world of sports. Not because he is an athlete, not because he won a championship, not because of his royal title, but because of the impact of the Invictus Games. And what happened next was just as important as the recognition itself. The foundation released a statement responding to Harry's inclusion on the list, and their message perfectly captures why this recognition matters. The foundation said they were honored that their founder and patron had been recognized by Time, but what stood out was that they immediately shifted the spotlight away from Harry and toward the mission of Invictus itself. They thanked Time for shining a light on the work of the foundation and the extraordinary community behind it. That is an important distinction, because anyone who has followed Invictus over the years knows that Harry has consistently done exactly the same thing. Whenever people praise him for creating the games, he redirects attention to the competitors. Whenever people talk about his vision, he talks about the courage of wounded veterans. Whenever journalists try to make Invictus about royalty, Harry brings the conversation back to service, recovery, resilience, and community. And that is exactly what the foundation did in its response. The statement said, "Sport has the power to change lives, and in some cases, to save them." Think about that for a moment. Not inspire, not entertain, not simply provide a distraction, save them. That is an incredibly powerful statement, and it reflects what countless Invictus competitors have said over the years. Many participants have spoken openly about struggling after injury. Many have described feeling isolated. Many have spoken about losing a sense of identity after leaving military service. Others have discussed mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness. The transition from military life to civilian life is not always easy. For some veterans, it can be one of the most difficult periods of their lives. The Invictus Games were designed to address that challenge, not by treating people as victims, not by focusing on limitations, but by focusing on possibility, by creating an environment where wounded veterans can rediscover confidence, where they can challenge themselves, where they can reconnect with others who understand their experiences, where they can find purpose again. That is why the foundation statement resonates so strongly. Because it is not talking about a theory. It is talking about real people, real lives, real recovery, and that is what makes this recognition from Time so meaningful. What's particularly interesting is that Time did not recognize Harry because he's a prince. They recognized him because of the impact he has had through Invictus. That distinction matters. There are plenty of people around the world who inherit titles. There are very few people who create a movement that changes lives on a global scale. The foundation statement describes Invictus as a movement, and honestly, that is exactly what it has become. What started as an idea has grown into an international community. Countries from around the world participate. Thousands of veterans have taken part. Millions of people have watched and supported the games. Families have been brought together. Friendships have been formed. Lives have been transformed. The foundation statement says, "What began as a belief in the power of sport has grown into a global movement." And that is not an exaggeration. When Harry launched the Invictus Games, there were plenty of people who did not understand what it would become. Some probably assumed it would be a one-time event. Others likely saw it as a symbolic gesture. Instead, it became one of the most successful initiatives ever associated with a member of the royal family. That success is measurable. You can see it in the stories of participants. You can see it in the growth of the games. You can see it in the international support they receive. You can see it in the emotional reactions of families who watch their loved ones regain confidence and purpose. Those outcomes matter far more than headlines. And that is why the Foundation's response feels so refreshing, because it is focused on impact, not image, not publicity, impact. The statement goes on to say that Invictus supports recovery while creating community, belonging, and hope. Those three words are incredibly important: community, belonging, hope. Many veterans who participate in Invictus have spoken about feeling disconnected after injury or after leaving service. Invictus gives them a community, a place where they are understood, a place where they are respected, a place where they can connect with others who have walked similar paths. Belonging is equally important. Every human being needs to feel that they belong somewhere, that they matter, that they are valued, that they are part of something larger than themselves. Invictus creates that sense of belonging. And then there is hope. Hope is powerful. Hope can change lives. Hope can help people keep moving forward when everything feels difficult. Hope can help people rebuild. Hope can help people heal. That is why the Foundation says the games can be life-saving, because hope itself can be life-saving. One of the most striking aspects of Harry's interview with Time was his discussion of the impact Invictus has had on participants. He spoke about competitors who described the games as life-changing. He spoke about people who described them as life-saving. Those are words people do not use lightly. Those are deeply personal experiences. And they remind us that behind every medal ceremony, every sporting event, and every photograph is a human story. A story of resilience, a story of recovery, a story of determination, a story of courage. That is what Time is recognizing. And frankly, it is difficult to argue with the results. Whether someone likes Harry or dislikes him personally, the impact of Invictus is undeniable. The Foundation's statement highlights exactly that. Rather than focusing on one individual, they focus on the community. Rather than celebrating a title, they celebrate a mission. Rather than talking about status, they talk about service. That says a lot. And what makes the story even more remarkable is the reaction from people across the internet. As news of Harry's inclusion on the Time 100 sports list spread online, countless people celebrated the recognition and argued that it was well-deserved. Many pointed out that Harry was not being recognized because he was born into a famous family. He was being recognized because he created something that has genuinely changed lives. That distinction came up again and again. People highlighted the fact that Invictus has survived and thrived for more than a decade. In a world where many celebrity projects come and go, Invictus has continued to grow stronger. Year after year, it has attracted participants from around the world. Year after year, it has brought wounded veterans together. Year after year, it has demonstrated the healing power of sport. Many commenters described Invictus as Harry's greatest achievement. Others said the recognition was long overdue. Many shared stories from previous Invictus games that had moved them emotionally. Others posted photographs and videos of competitors overcoming challenges and inspiring audiences around the world. And perhaps most importantly, many people echoed the exact message shared by the Foundation. While they congratulated Harry, they also emphasized that the real heroes are the competitors, the men and women whose courage, resilience, and determination make Invictus what it is. What stood out most was the overwhelmingly positive tone. Instead of focusing on controversy, people focused on impact. Instead of arguing about royal drama, they focused on veterans. Instead of discussing headlines, they discussed lives that had been changed. That is something we do not see nearly enough. Humanity occasionally surprises you. Not often, but occasionally. Give people a story about genuine service and resilience, and for a moment they stop arguing about celebrity gossip and remember what actually matters. The final part of the Foundation's statement may be the most important. They said, "We are proud of this recognition, but most importantly, we are proud of the Invictus community." That line perfectly captures the spirit of the games. The recognition is appreciated, but the people remain the priority. The veterans remain the priority. The community remains the priority. And honestly, that is probably one reason Invictus has endured, because it was never built around celebrity. It was built around purpose. Purpose tends to last. Purpose creates impact. Purpose changes lives. As we look at this story, it is worth remembering something. In today's media environment, there is often an obsession with drama. Conflict generates clicks. Arguments generate attention. Controversy generates headlines. Stories about positive change often receive far less coverage. Yet this recognition from Time highlights something genuinely meaningful. It highlights an initiative that has helped wounded veterans around the world. It highlights a community built on resilience. It highlights the power of sport to restore confidence and purpose. And it highlights the thousands of people whose lives have been touched by Invictus. That is a story worth telling. The Invictus Games Foundation could have used this moment simply to celebrate Harry's achievement. Instead, they used it to celebrate the entire community. That tells you everything you need to know about what Invictus represents. This recognition is not just about one person. It is about a movement. It is about veterans. It is about recovery. It is about resilience. It is about hope. And according to the foundation itself, it is about saving lives. That is an extraordinary legacy, and it is one that continues to grow. Congratulations to Prince Harry on this recognition from Time. But perhaps even more importantly, congratulations to every member of the Invictus community whose courage, determination, and resilience made this recognition possible in the first place. Because at the heart of this story is not fame. It is not royalty. It is not headlines. It is not status. It is people helping people rebuild their lives. And judging by the reaction from the public, that is exactly why so many people felt this honor was deserved. And has resonated with so many people. For years, conversations about Harry and the media have often been dominated by discussions about family disputes, royal tensions, court cases, and endless speculation about relationships behind palace walls. Yet this Time recognition serves as a reminder that there is an entirely different side to Harry's public life, one that is centered on service and tangible outcomes. When people look at the Invictus Games, they are not looking at a public relations campaign. They are looking at athletes who have overcome extraordinary adversity. They are looking at veterans who refuse to let injury define them. They are looking at families who have stood beside their loved ones through some of the most difficult moments imaginable. And they are looking at a community that has proven what can happen when people are given support, opportunity, and encouragement. That is why many people online saw this recognition as bigger than Harry himself. To them, it represented recognition for every competitor who has stepped onto an Invictus field, track, court, or swimming pool. It represented recognition for every veteran who found the courage to try again after experiencing setbacks. It represented recognition for every family member who provided support behind the scenes. In many ways, Time's decision shines a spotlight on a message that the Invictus community has been sharing for years, that resilience deserves to be celebrated, not because recovery is easy, not because the challenges disappear, but because choosing to move forward despite those challenges is an achievement in itself. And perhaps that is why the Foundation's response was so powerful. Rather than focusing on awards or accolades, they focused on the people whose stories make Invictus possible. The recognition may have Harry's name attached to it, but the impact belongs to an entire community. A community that continues to inspire millions around the world and reminds us that some of the most important victories in life are not measured by trophies or titles, but by the courage to keep going.